A very good evening to all the participants present here. We'll start in next 2 minutes. Thank you. Warm welcome to all the participants from Goyal Brothers Prakashan. We have with us today Alka Jha ma'am. She is MA, B.Ed, PhD and a senior ICSE teacher. Over to you ma'am. We welcome you to this webinar. Over to you ma'am. You can start the program now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jitin. Can you please give me the connect so that we can have the visuals? Shall we start, Jitin?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible and visible both. We can start.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are on this globe. So nice to see. Should I wait or should we start off straight away?
Ma'am, it's already 4:05. We can start now.
Right. Great. So welcome once again to this webinar that we have conducted by Goyal Brothers Prakashan. I hope I'm audible to everybody. To all my fellow participants, friends across the entire subcontinent of India and abroad. Are we all here? Just show me a thumbs up. That should be nice. Great, lovely, great, wonderful. So we are basically here. Thank you, Jitin, for introducing me. And so nice to see. I'll just look at the faces once again. If you are on screen, that should be a wonderful, wonderful thing. Otherwise, you have the option of staying on or off the screen. Welcome to this webinar. We are basically here to refer to the language paper that has been introduced by the publication. Here is the copy. And we shall be discussing basically the bifurcation of the syllabus that has been introduced by the ICSE board. We've already had one section. We've already finished with one exam. Thank you, Mrs. Lal, for confirming that I'm audible to you. And we'll just stop with the messages for the moment, and I shall be just telling this to you. So we are basically dealing with this composition, this language paper we are introducing before the entire, it's right on the shelves now, and it can be, I mean, anybody can go and get it. We are here not exactly to discuss, but once again to remind ourselves of the changes that have come about in the second semester. So as you all are already aware, but we are just here in case we miss out on anything that might possibly need our attention. So Jitin will be accompanying me and Mudassir will be accompanying me with the technical assistance, the rest of it. We will divide the entire thing into 3 plenary. Number 1, I will give you a very brief introduction since Jitin possibly hasn't really given enough. I am a teacher at St. Joseph's Convent High School, Patna. I'm heading the Department of English here. This school is merely 173 years old, and I am a mere 31-year-old teacher. I call it mere because being a teacher, any age is obviously too little a thing. Number 1. Number 2, these 4 books that we have introduced, they are basically keeping in mind the changes that have come about both on the literature front and the language front. In subsequent weeks, we will have webinars relating to the different books. We have just started off with the language paper today. So any query that you have, that should be taken care of in the 3rd section of this webinar today, wherein you can send me your queries in the chat box, and as far as possible, I should be taking note of each one of them. In case you have something to discuss, you may raise your hand and ask me accordingly. I have no objections. Let it not be a very formal kind of a webinar. And the second plenary will obviously consist of the PPTs that we have that should once again acquaint you with the changes that have come about, the syllabus that we have already been teaching, since I'm also a teacher. So I know what exactly is the status of the syllabus. So this is how. Let's kickstart the whole thing. We will start off. Jitin, could you please introduce the audience to the rest of the things so that they can get. We will first and foremost get to see how exactly the syllabus has been bifurcated. Meanwhile, if you have any kind of query, you obviously either
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
make
I
a
am here. Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. You can
just
start, ma'am, with the webinar.
right. Just make a note of it on the notepad or anywhere that you think, and we can all discuss. I tell you we because I'm not here to tell you anything. We are here to discuss in the larger interest of the children. So that's how it is. Anything that you think, you can just make a note of it, and we can have an informal session towards the latter part of the webinar wherein we can discuss. So we go ahead. Jitin, I can see many of my friends are still joining. Okay, Anindita, you've got something to ask, just make a note of it. I'll call you by name because I find it more comfortable to address my friends that way. I'm 55 years, so you can understand many of you would not mind if I address you by name. Anyway, until the PPTs are showing, we can just have it. We broadly have the whole thing divided into 3 parts. We have the first and the foremost, of course, we have the composition part, which obviously anybody would like to put forth her view. We'll just use this 2 minutes to, by the time our friends are still joining. Anybody who would like to join in verbally, I allow you to do that in case you think any issue relating to the first section, and that is the essay or the composition section. Let's interact for 5 minutes till the head office adjusts the thing. Anybody? We are open to the question at the moment. Just switch on your mic and let's talk.
Ma'am, we have kept everybody on mute. First, you start with the webinar, then in the end, we'll take the question.
No, I was waiting for you to.
You can start, ma'am. We are good to go now.
But that's it. Can we have the PPT?
Can you not see the chat?
Yeah. Is the screen visible to all my friends? Is the screen visible to all my friends? Yes. Yes. Okay. So we go ahead with the part over here that you can see what we have in the first semester and what we have in the second semester. So just we will have a thing over here as to what we are going to talk about today. The most important thing that we are going to talk about is the second semester. What we exactly have in the second semester. Second semester is our constant. We are going to focus on that topic. Whatever has happened in the first semester, we'll refer to that in case we need to in the latter part. We are also going to deal with the features and pattern of the specimen paper that has been issued by the council. The features and the pattern, mind the 2 words over here. The features and the pattern of the specimen paper that has been issued by the council that we shall be taking into account. Then we shall be proceeding with the discussing the different kinds of questions. Since the syllabus is now bifurcated, so our children have to acquaint themselves with the kind of questions that they should be expecting in the second semester. Many of them, I believe, because I've had queries and because I deal with children of different places in India, sometimes they are a little jittery about the fact whether they should be facing do as directed questions or preposition questions and all that. So it is very, very clear what we are going to discuss. So that's what we are going to discuss. Number 3, we are going to discuss the types of questions. The types of questions and what are the finer details of those questions. What is the kind of that sub part that we should be expecting that we shall be looking into. Then we move on to the 4th important point that we shall be talking about in today's webinar is how do we as teachers help our students to prepare for the second semester, not only academically, but also physically, mentally, and most importantly, emotionally. Because these days, these children are, sometimes in jitters. They don't exactly know how to go about with things. They don't exactly know what should be the equation of the time that they should divide on every question. So we are going to prepare them academically, of course, but emotionally and psychologically also. So these are the things we are going to deal with. Can we have the next slide?
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows three-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Okay, so now we have the next one. I hope the screen is visible to all my friends. We have the bifurcated syllabus over here. Since semester 1 is already a bygone thing, so I'm not really focusing on that. Semester 2. Let's look at it. You can scroll the screen accordingly or maybe zoom it. You can see what is the syllabus that is to be taken into account. Like comprehension, many children are still skeptical about the fact that once again they could be subjected to comprehension. No, they are not getting any comprehension passes this time. It's an out and out clear thing that we are going to get only one composition. One composition, one essay that they will be expected to write. Then in the second part of the question, they should be dealing with the letter. They are used to writing it ever since they came to standard 9. So they will be dealing with the second part, and that is letter. In our subsequent PPTs, I'll tell you what exactly is the division of marks. Then we move on to the third thing, and that is notice. Again, we have prepared our children for writing this kind of notice, but this time they are going to get it in the second semester. This notice is going to be obviously marks bifurcation also we shall be discussing. And eventually we come to the fourth important part, and that is email. So this time there are no MCQs. You can see as it is very clear, even the book that we have issued by the Goyal brothers, it does not contain any MCQ. So they should be very clear about all these things in their head as far as the second semester is concerned. They'll have to write a composition, they will have to attempt a letter, they will do a notice, and eventually they will write an email. So these four things they are going to discuss. Then we move on to the next thing. Aminita, if you put your hand down, I should be happy. We'll be talking, yes. We go to the next thing, and that is, you can see over here, the second semester obviously will be dealing with 4 topics. We have already done that: the composition, the letter, the notice, and the email. It is just a kind of a reinforcement. That is moving on to the next important thing. We can scroll up and see what is the time allowed. What is the time allowed this time? It is 1.5 hours. You can see 1 hour and 30 minutes writing time. Please make it, my dear friends, please make it very clear to the students that they'll get 1.5 hours, that is 90 minutes to be more precise, for writing their paper. I'm specifically mentioning the word writing. From the time they lift the pen to the time they finish their paper, they are supposed to use 90 minutes for that. Okay, then we have the maximum marks that has been allotted is 40 marks, just as it was in the first semester. There are no sections over here. Unlike the literature section A, B, and C, there are no sections as such. 3 questions altogether. And all the questions, this is most important thing that has to be kept in mind, that all the questions are compulsory. All questions are compulsory. Of course, we will have sub choices in the questions, respective questions, but all 3 questions are compulsory. All questions will be subjective. That is very specifically we have mentioned here that no MCQs. So children should be very clearly told about this thing, that there should be no MCQs at all. For every question, they will have to attempt it in their own words. So please make this very, very clear in the mind of the children that this time there isn't any possibility of an MCQ in the language paper, unlike the first semester wherein they had to do it. In this slide of ours, you can see there is a pie chart which shows you the bifurcation of marks once again. You can see the division of marks There will be 5 choices. The first question that we have, question 1, there will be 5 choices. The students will have to attempt any one. This is very, very clear. So they shouldn't anyhow be muddled up in their head whether they have to attempt all 5 or just one or whatever. It is a very clear thing. They'll have to attempt only one. This only one is most often highlighted even in the question paper, but otherwise also my friends can make it very clear right from now itself that they have to be very, very sure. Now over here as a teacher, I would suggest that at this stage itself, since we still have 2 months to go, I would rather recommend that these children should be made very clear from now itself, the kind of essay that they would be attempting. They should almost prepare themselves mentally as to the kind of composition they should be attempting. Just in case, they get over there at that last moment when they are making a choice, they shouldn't be messing up with the things and wondering whether it should be narrative or descriptive or argumentative. Whatever kind of composition they are most comfortable with, because remember that at this point of time, they don't have to exhibit their skill. They have to put in the maximum effort in order to fetch marks. So the focus should be on fetching the marks and not experimenting anything in the last moment. So I would request my fellow teachers to make it very clear in the mind of the children from there. Of course, they can, exceptions are always there in case suddenly they feel tempted by a particular topic over there. But this is always a very desirable thing that they should have a very clear mind about the fact as to what is the kind of choice they would prefer to have when they are writing a composition. Moving on to the next one. This question will carry 20 marks. 20 marks, very, very clear. Coming on to question number 2. Question number 2, obviously we have letter. Nothing new about it, except the fact that there will be 2 choices given, which again is not an exception. This is how we've been having. Again, over here also as a teacher, I would suggest that they should, normally children should be very clear in their head as to which kind of letter they are most comfortable. Making a choice in the last moment and then writing half a page of a letter and suddenly realizing that I should have done the other letter better, and then they scrap the entire thing and make a fresh attempt. Not only does it kill time, but it also, makes them a little uncomfortable with their choice over there. So I think we still have 2 months to go. 2 choices that will be given. The student will have to attempt anyone. Then we move on to the next one. This question carries 10 marks. That is the letter. Question 3, we have notice and we have email. This is part A and part B. So this should not be mistaken that there are 2 questions. This is part A, that is notice writing. In notice writing, as far as it is concerned, there will be no choices. Very clear. There will be no choice at all. The student has to attend the question given on the paper. Without any second thought, the child has to attempt that question. Same applies to the next question also. Even for mail also, they will have to write this mail. And the question is divided in, you can see 10 marks divided into 2, and that is 5 marks and 5 marks each. Nothing much, not much of a change over here, except the fact that they should know that they have to limit themselves within an hour and a half limit. All right, Daisy, I'll take note of that, your message. Thank you for messaging. This question carries 10 marks within 5 marks for the notice, and of course with 5 marks for the mail. Your queries we will be discussing, and I'll benefit out of your suggestions also, not an issue. Moving on to the next thing. Can we scroll it up? The next slide. Thank you. We have over here, you can see, there will be 5 questions composition. Now let's look at the different kinds of questions that we should be having. There will be 5 different types of questions, as it is a kind of a convention, out of which the student will have to choose only one. That's what we discussed in the beginning of the session also. And this question obviously will carry 20 marks. The composition has to be at least 300 to 350 words long. Again, you can send in your suggestion. Normally in the training session that I've had over there, we were told that every time a child, takes to counting the word, he is only losing his mark time. So As a teacher, we would discuss in the latter part as to what can be done and how we should train our children into almost assessing the number of words they would be writing on a sheet, one side of the sheet, on one side of the answer sheet. So we should be discussing that, and maybe your suggestion can be taken into account. But they should have an idea as to how long. Okay, all right. As to how long the answer should be so as to contain 300 to 350 words. As an examiner, I can tell you, since I'm an examiner for ICSE, less than 300 is put under the category of short script, which obviously is subject to major deduction of marks. So I would suggest that all my friends should insist that the child should in no case attempt an essay less than 300 words.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
In no case should they attempt an essay less than 300 words. And as far as 350 words is considered, a couple of words or maybe 5-10 words more than that doesn't really matter. But again, that should not be a very that extension should not be a very dangerous one. 350, maybe 360, maybe 365, that's it. The 5 kinds of questions that we have. The first one is narrative, the descriptive, the story writing. The story has to be original based on the instruction that has been given. We'll talk about the different instructions also. We have a picture composition that is an essential part of the ICSE curriculum. We don't have that in plus 2, we don't have that in ISC, but we have this picture composition in ICSE. And of course, we have an argumentative composition. Now here, I would just mention that the order of the question in the question paper need not necessarily be in the same order. Not that you will have the narrative question first and then descriptive, followed by story writing and picture composition and argumentative. Sometimes it could be the other way also. It could be the other way in a way that we could start with descriptive, maybe move on to narrative, argumentative, followed by story writing and then picture composition. I mean, that doesn't really decide the order of the question, but children have to decide as to which is the kind of question they are most comfortable and will enable them to fetch better marks. The student can pick any of these that we have, which he or she feels they can express in the best possible way. And lastly, the composition should have valid points, needless to say, and it should have a well-defined, this ending part is very important. Please, my dear friends, please, this is beginning and ending. These are the 2 important things. Of course, the content is equally important, but they shouldn't sum up the entire thing as though they were in a hurry or they were short on time or they were at a loss as to how to complete their composition. That obviously subjects them to major loss of mark, and that can be extremely detrimental. So the last part over here that we have mentioned is the composition should have valid points, number 1, and it should be a well-defined ending. Well-defined, and most importantly, especially if it is an argumentative composition, we shall discuss in the latter part, they must stick to the point rather than deviate and eventually settle it's okay as far as this is concerned. They should never take into account the other side of the story. If they are dealing with an argumentative composition, they have to strictly stick to the argument that they have been giving. Any veering from their stand is going to subject them to losing their marks. So this is how The composition should have valid points, and they should be very well defined as far as the ending is concerned, as far as the last part is concerned. Moving on to the next one, and that is, we move on to the question number 2, and that is letter writing. Letter writing, obviously, once again, I repeat, carries 20 marks. There will be 2 choices given. There should be 2 choices given. I'm taking note of all your remarks, so you can send in the remarks, not an issue. I'll take care of them towards the end. There will be 2 choices given, as we have already done. So this is once again reinforcing the same point. 2 choices given, out of which the first one is most likely to be. The order of the question is normally this way. The first one is informal, like it can be a letter to a friend, it can be a letter to a mother, it can be a letter to a father, it can be a letter to anybody for that matter. If at all, it is an informal letter. As far as the formal letter is concerned, this letter can be either of a complaint or a request. It can be placing an order also. It can be a letter to the editor also. So a formal letter naturally can contain possibly a variety of subjects ranging from complaint to order to request to inquiry, or maybe an open letter to the editor. The student can pick any of these, one of these, very, very clear right now. Right from class 9, we have been training them, and they must stick to the same pattern despite the bifurcation of syllabus. No changes in the basic format. One of these they have to, either they choose the informal one or they choose the formal one. They can choose any, and then they can write a letter on it. As far as the formatting of the letter is concerned, we will deal with it after this. Although no length has been specified by the ICSE board, but it is suggested that the letter should preferably, I use the word preferably, it should end up in 1 page. That means they must be able to club their address and the address of the addresser and the addressee so as to contain the entire letter in 1 page. Preferably, again, I say. The address must be very, very concise, and it has to be correct. Now, correct doesn't mean that they have to write exactly the address that their house number and all that. They can frame an address also. They can frame a self-made address also, as long as it lives up to the expectation of the ICSE board. The address must be correct. The format must be the kind that has been laid down by the ICSE, and a lot of marks would be lost in case, like I've over here mentioned a particular sample over here, you can see. Over here, once again, I repeat that they should not go beyond these 3 lines, preferably, because in case they do, not only do they break the rule, but they are unnecessarily consuming 1 extra line, and this shall naturally put them in trouble as far as the content of the letter is concerned. Okay. Then we have the solution and the greetings must be right. The salutations, I'm sorry for that. The salutation and the greeting must be right. This we will talk about. Queries are coming in, so we will talk about after this entire thing is finished. The salutation and the greetings, they have to be borne in mind. They have to be in accordance with the question that you are responding. If it is a letter to the editor, obviously it will be different. If it is a letter to a cousin, it will be different. If it is a letter to a mother, it will be different. So salutation has to be borne in mind, and accordingly the greetings should go. And they obviously will differ according to the kind of letter that they are wanting to attempt. Moving on. Once again, I would take this opportunity to say that when we write letters and all that, you all know this, but I'm just once again repeating that our children should avoid writing short forms, like NO for number or RD for road, ST for street. They should strictly avoid writing such words. Or maybe the address can possibly be opposite this, near this, behind this, close to this. No, not at all. It has to be very precise, and we will talk about how exactly we can train our children into writing the address, the most precise address, and not lose marks. Next, can we have the next slide, please?
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows three-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Thank you. Question number 3. This is the last part of the question. There will be no choices provided in this notice. This I'm repeating. There will be no choices provided in the notice and email. Both the notice and the email will carry 5 marks each. No change. This is what it has been ever since, and this is how we are going to continue with. The notice has to be concise. It has to be in the center of the page. In the book that we are introducing by the Goyal brothers, you can see I have written over here the sample notices. So those friends of mine who have been sending me messages, we will be scrolling the sample book over here, and this should give you an idea as to how exactly the notice should be placed on the page. It should be in the center of the page and should have preferably a box. Preferably a box, because it gives the entire notice a very neat finish. And it should facilitate better presentation. Coming to the email must be short. Number 1, it should be concise. Number 2, and it should be to the point. Number 3. No unnecessary indulgences, unlike the informal letter wherein you can afford to. The email has to be absolutely, very precisely, we are discussing with the number 1, short, number 2, concise, and number 2, to the point. Although no upper limit has been given over here, still, it would be preferable if children limit it not beyond 150 words. That should, in this way, they should be able to finish the entire thing in just 1 page. The email address and the salutation, once again, has to be correct. Like I've given you an example over here. Sometimes the children, in the process of my correction and all the evaluation and all, I have noticed that sometimes children write capital letters even for the email address. That's not at all correct. Every alphabet has to be in small letters and in accordance with a proper ID. Like for instance, you can see over here, if the letter is to be written to the principal, PRINCIPAL, and then we have obviously @ and then whatever the name of the school, a dot, and then you can write down whatever your ID is. As far as the notice is concerned, it should have all the details. Most importantly, if at all any program is being conducted, then there should be venue, there should be time, and there should be date. The date in the notice must be a working day. This I have added as an extra point. This will be counted as a conceptual error, like in case you are issuing a notice, it has to be a working day. So it should not be a Sunday, and they should be able to conceive the idea as to when exactly XYZ date falls and all that. That won't actually deduct the marks, but if it is somewhere close to the examination, they should be able to calculate the day on which they are issuing the notice. So it's written, the date in the notice must be a working day. Here again, I would suggest that notices should be in accordance with the country. Like supposing you are issuing a notice relating to, supposing you have a Christmas carnival, then you can't write a notice for Christmas carnival during July or August. Or if it is going to be an excursion during summer vacation. So you obviously cannot write that notice somewhere in December or January. So the date should be over here in accordance with whatever the topic is. And most importantly, you can see the word must is highlighted over here. It should be a working day. Moving on. Now we come to how should we actually maneuver, how should the students maneuver through the paper? This is, I told you, a psychological preparation that they must be put through. They must, during the reading time, make their choices very clear. As one of my friends just sent in the chat, that they can make alterations. Of course, I just told you a preferable thing, but alterations of, like supposing a child has already thought something, but obviously the child can exercise his or her discretion and accordingly make alteration. That was just a suggestion that I made. They must, during the reading time, make their choices on the topics they want to write very clear. Also, they must create roadmaps. Okay, we will take care of the previous slide also in their mind, so as to what should be the content of the composition. Number one, what should be the content of the letter? Number two, notice, obviously, they have to bear in mind, and also the email. That means for all 4 questions, those 15 minutes should be used not only to cool themselves off, but also to plan how exactly, once they start with their pen, how exactly they should go so that they can go smooth with their writing without any, sudden change of mind during the process of writing their paper. Yeah, I'll deal with the correct format of notice writing also. They can manage their time according to the following flowchart. Of course, you can see the flowchart over here we have. If you give yourself a little time, I can allow you half a minute just to see as to what is the time that they should actually be able to allot in order to make the optimal use of the time. So you can give yourself half a minute just to scroll through it. They can manage their time according to the following flowchart, and they must remain calm. I told you the psychological preparation is very important. That is why I prefer to call it as cool off time. They must be calm and they must go through their paper multiple times. Sometimes, they get excited by the answer, that the question that is there right in the beginning, and they start with their pen only to realize when they read the part of the question, they realize that they could have opted for the other question. So please encourage that they must read the entire paper, even if their choice is final for the first one, but they should not miss out on reading the entire paper. That should be a wise thing to do. As far as composition is concerned, I'm just scrolling the screen and you can do the same. As far as the composition is concerned, I would suggest that we would spend 30 minutes, preferably, because it's a 1 hour, 30 minutes. So 30 minutes can be given to that. Letter possibly can take 20 minutes of the children's, because letter is a little long one and they need to think over different aspects of the letter. Notice, this is a rough estimation, rough division, but they can always make adjustments. Notice should not take 10 minutes in any case. In fact, that is also more than enough. They can finish the notice in 6 to 7 to 8 minutes and use the same time for other work. Email should not take more than 10 minutes, but maybe it can take 2 minutes, and that can be adjusted from the notice aspect. So altogether, you can see that makes it a 90-minute exercise, and children should be able to accommodate the entire paper in the 90-minute. But that's it. Can I have the previous slide? I think we missed out. So we will just go through that slide. We had just seen this one. So
we did this slide. We did this one.
Yeah, yes. No, in case any of my friend did not, so we will just run through it. We have already decided all these things as to what exactly is the kind of question and how much of it is to be done. Moving on to the next one. Can we have the next one, please? Okay, all right. This is as far as the psychological preparation is concerned. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect, of course. That's one cliched saying, but it holds good even in present times when they have to practice. No amount of reading is going to help them unless they actually practice it in writing. The students must be given ample practice in all 4 topics so that they can spot their shortcomings and work on them. Shortcomings are important, my dear friends, over here, because we still have time and we can see where exactly they are losing out on. Whether it is the preposition or the tenses or the idea or the thinking skill, we can still, take care of those things and we can help our children. They should be made to read newspapers. This is my personal suggestion, but of course they can visit different platforms also, different sites also, and they can do a lot of reading. We have introduced a lot of, like the Goyal's people have introduced a set of books also, both literature, language. They can also come handy to them. Apart from that, of course, we have a lot of essay books and all available, so they can go through them also. Still time, they should never think, they still have approximately 70-75 days to go. They should also improve the neatness. My very dear friends, I would harp on this thing. They should improve on the neatness aspect, because ultimately it is language, and they must make the presentation a very pleasant one. So the neatness aspect is very important. That is only possible if they are very clear in their mind while attempting the paper. I repeat, they should also improve the neatness and the speed of their writing. Speed of their writing. Suddenly they should not see themselves losing out on time just because they have not equated their time. They should also improve the neatness and the speed of their writing in order to allow them to finish their paper within 90 minutes. So this is how I can wish them very good luck. Wish you also good luck. And I need the same, because even my children are preparing for the same.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
So with this, we move on to the next part, and that is the last and final. I've had a lot of questions, so we can discuss. Not that I can tell you what exactly, but I would love to have suggestions. So in that case, you can make suggestions, and if there is any labs, you just let them available online also, and you can get them on shelves also. So this is how it is. Now I open the entire thing to, I'll just take care of the questions that have come or the queries that have come. So just allow me some time so that I can actually see. Okay, so that's how the questions go. I'll take care of the very first question that had come, and we'll just spend a little time for that. Okay, there was one very substantial question. In fact, it was a suggestion that had come that my friend over here, she begs to differ on the point that they should be trained, that children should be trained to choose the kind of composition they want to write. Not an issue. I do agree with you also for the fact that, of course, they have the option and they can go ahead. In case you have furthermore suggestion, you can unmute. Daisy, you can unmute your mic and we can talk in case you have more suggestions to suggest. I give you 30 seconds for that. I can take your suggestion. I mean, all of us can take a suggestion. Do you mind unmuting yourself in case you are in the meeting? No issues. We move on now.
Ma'am, we can unmute participants. You tell me to whom we have to unmute. We will unmute.
Yeah. Daisy can be. Daisy had a query, so she can.
Daisy, okay.
Daisy ma'am,
you can unmute yourself now. We have made the setting.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, you can unmute if you want to interact with ma'am directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to differ here. Why? Because maybe I have made a child believe, or a child is made to believe, that he can write very good descriptive compositions. But maybe during in the course of the examination, he finds that he or she is supposed to describe maybe a football match or a chaos during football match. And maybe he hasn't been to a football match and he doesn't know what to write. So perhaps his jargons will be wrong.
Hello.
So therefore, what we do is we make the child read all the compositions and only attempt those where he can get more matter to write and how well he can attempt that. So there I was just a little.
No, that's very fine. I respect your suggestion and I respect your objection also. So that's pretty okay, Daisy ma'am.
Yeah.
What I said was a kind of a generalization of things, because sometimes our children get very jittery, suddenly when they are faced with questions. Languages, obviously, they don't expect any questions. So thank you for your suggestion. Thank you. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. We have is it mandatory to have 15 days gap in the date while writing the notice? This was the question. This is coming from Moitri ma'am, Moitri Chaudhary ma'am. So Moitri Chaudhary ma'am, can I have you on screen? That you would not necessarily, I would suggest, not exactly 15 days. It is desirable that it should be 15 days, but a minimum of a week or 10 days is quite desirable. 15, it can even go up to 15 days, not necessarily, but a minimum of 10 days is desirable for a notice to be issued.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Alka ma'am. Thanks a lot for that. I'm sorry I'm not able to switch on my video, but
No issues.
yeah, because I'm teaching in a school. So while discussing with other English teachers, it was brought to my notice, and many students told me that, ma'am, it's 15 days. So that created a little confusion, because as far as my knowledge is concerned, and as an examiner, I know that 10 days is fine. Gap. So thank you very much, Alka ma'am. In fact, your inputs have been very, very helpful today. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you. Because I was at the workshop in Calcutta, so we were told that a minimum of 10 days is desirable. 15 days is pretty fine, but it's not mandatory.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, there's no specification with the word mandatory.
Okay,
right?
ma'am.
So
okay.
Thank you,
thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Swapna Luthra ma'am is wanting to know if there is any word limit for notice. Swapna ma'am, we normally limit the word to 50 to 60 words, because that should almost take note of, take care of the entire content of a notice. So preferably there is no specification as such, but normally it should be limited within the 50 or the 60 word limit. So you can understand, we just allow 7 to 8 minutes for a notice writing. So Swapna ma'am, I suppose that takes care of your question, I believe.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Moving on, I'll tell you on the basis of the training workshop that I had attended, how many pages of essays to be written. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I think this is Naeem Godi, right? So it's not pages, it's the words that are important. Sometimes you can see a very compressed handwriting will find itself finish the entire composition within a page and a half, and a little dilated kind of a handwriting will almost go up to 2.5 pages and all that. So this is important over here. What is important over here is not the number of pages, but actually the number of words that a child writes, correct? So that is important. Pages are not at all important. Then we move on to the next thing, and that is the box is compulsory for letter. Not at all. The box is not at all compulsory for letter. Letter has to be absolutely open. There is no need. Box can be used only for notice writing, and that's how it is. The next one is we have no word limit for notice. There is no word limit for notice. No, there is no word limit for notice. Once again, I think Amit Banerjee sir has mentioned this. So I think we have already dealt with this question, that there is no word limit for notice. Will they lose marks if they go beyond 10 days? No. They are not losing marks in any case. So they will not lose marks. Susan Matthew, this is your answer. They are not losing marks if they go beyond. Did you say 10 days? Are you specific? Are you clear with the question?
Ma'am, I just wanted to know. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
You said that normally it is like a week and 10 days for notice writing when we give the date, days in advance. So if they go, let's say 2 weeks advance, then will they lose marks? So they have to stick with 10 days gap, or is it okay if they go beyond that as well?
No, they can go beyond that also. We just talked about like 15 days we did talk, but I was actually concentrating on the word mandatory. It's not mandatory.
All right.
They can go ahead with 10 days, yes. Is it okay, Susan Matthew, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
So much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Manasvi ma'am is here. 300 to 300 pages for composition. That sounds pretty interesting. And I have to take note of the fact over here. 350 words should, on an average, that my experience tells me that on an average, 350 words should take. See, on an average, when we were told in our training workshops that one line, normally an average writing, a child writes 7 words. So that makes it 50 lines. So I think my calculation says that in one ICSE page, we have 22 lines, I believe. So that makes it approximately 2 pages and a quarter, right? Manasvi ma'am? Manasvi ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That is how it is. So it's not the pages that is important. I mean, how many words are taken care of, that's more important. Is that very clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, Manisha ma'am is asking box for letter. No, once again, I think we have already dealt with that question. No, for letter, the box is not needed. Then moving on to the next thing, and that is 10 days gap, of course. We have Harveen Kaur ma'am is asking. So I think we have dealt with that question also. Pages, once again, pages to be written for an essay. That has already been discussed. Deepa ma'am is asking, punctuation marks are necessary or not for letters? See over here, this Goyal brothers books that we have personally dealt with, you can see the kind of format of address that is concerned these days. We don't really, punctuation marks are not necessary. Of course, they are necessary in the middle of the content of the letter. That's absolutely important. And they will be losing marks in case of a wrong punctuation. Needless to say that. That goes for Deepa ma'am. Amit Banerjee sir, once again, I think your question has already been answered, that there is no box required. Banerjee sir is here, Amit sir is here.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Sorry, actually, I was answering this question of someone. So it was not a question, actually. I was just replying to some queries, basically. I found that you were already engaged. So I thought I took the opportunity of answering. Please carry on. No problem. Thank you so much.
That was so nice. Thank you so much. Of course, the subject is a must, yes. As far as the formal letters are concerned, preferably our children should be trained into writing a subject. Even though, as far as the ICSE says that there should be no deduction of marks whatsoever, but a subject is definitely a desired thing that the children should be trained to. Harveen Kaur ma'am is wanting to know what exactly should be the length of email. I just told you right now that email should be of 150 words approximately, and that should, and even more important is the fact that the entire email should finish off in 1 page. If they draw a line on all 4 sides, well, good enough. If they don't, still okay. But 150 should be the maximum. And even more important is the fact that it should finish in 1 page. Notice, of course, once again, we have already discussed approximately 50 to 60, 65, depending upon the contents that are expected. That was Harveen ma'am's query. Zora ma'am, I'm taking care of your question. Any question? You haven't sent any question? Nice to see your introduction here. Swati ma'am, I think we have already discussed this question, whether the subject is important for a formal letter. Mrs. Lal is wanting to know whether letter writing are both traditional and modern, computerized, completely left aligned formats are acceptable. Yes, they are. Mrs. Lal, they are. They have to be absolutely on the left-hand side, and they have to be, the formatting has to be based on the computers. As far as the address is concerned, if an email has to be addressed to more than an individual, not necessarily. Not necessarily, unless it is specifically mentioned in the question that send a copy to, which is least likely, which is least likely. Mrs. Lal, am I audible to you? And are you in the meeting?
Yes. No, my question is
that's so nice.
Is that are both formats
yes
acceptable, the traditional and the modern format?
The traditional format, yes, we are accepting traditional format, but over here I would just make one small little addition that when we are like most of the schools all over India have actually shifted to the computerized format, but some schools are still practicing.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to say something?
Are both acceptable?
Both accepted. Till date, they are both accepted. But in traditional, I would suggest that they have to be very careful with the punctuation aspect.
Yes.
Right. That you have to bear.
Another query, ma'am. When we come on to if the question desires that the email be a copy be sent to more than an individual, then do write the other email addresses in front of CC carbon copy. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. But this is least likely, as I said. Chances are very remote that ICSE will put the children through this. Chances are very remote. Yes.
All right. Okay. My query was if the word write, then I'm sorry. May I speak?
Yes. Please go ahead.
If the children, just in that unlikely scenario, if the children had to write more than one email address, do the addresses get separated by a comma or a semicolon?
Semicolon. A colon is separated by colons. Over here, you can be written over here absolutely correctly. It is separated by not semicolon, but colons. PIN code is not necessary, not at all. You can just write down Nagpur 23. You can write Bangalore 17. Because many a time we don't exactly know what is the PIN code of a place. So you can just write the last 2 digits. That's acceptable. Okay? Okay.
Right.
Moving on to, thank you. I hope your queries, I've satisfied you with the answer, Mrs. Lal?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We once again have a question from Naeem Gori coming, techniques to count the words for an essay. Okay. That you have to devise, but as I told you, on an average, a child writes between 6 to 7. This is what I was told in my training session. So accordingly, it's desirable that a child should write an approximate, 50 lines, and that should take care of the 350 word requisite. That's what is required. So 45, 46, 47, depending upon the compactness of the handwriting, they should finish. Then we have to make a box for email. Not necessarily. If the child makes it, the marks will not be deducted. If he doesn't make it, marks will not be deducted either. But for notice, it is a must. Then Vidya ma'am is asking, that was Shatakshi ma'am asking. Vidya ma'am is asking, do we, if I'm correct with the address, do we need to write 2 address? No. That's not desirable. We don't write 2 anymore now. It's out of use. So for the addressee, we don't use the word 2 anymore now, right? Any techniques to count the words, of course, we have seen. It is a myth for composition. Students won't get full marks. Is it so? I'll tell you very honestly and very blatantly, no, they do. I as an examiner have awarded a full marks. Yes. Of course, that has been a rarity, but children do get full marks. So Praveen sir, you can be sure of your children getting full marks. And I wish them all the best for this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Praveen
you.
Sir, are you there in the meeting? So
yes,
I wish
thank
the best for your children. Yes, we do award full marks. No grammatical errors. Every point has to be taken care of. Neatness of presentation and a perfect composition. Yes, we do give 20 out of 20. I have given, and so many have given, because it has to be superbly good, and that's what makes it a 20 out of 20. So please go ahead. And please let us encourage our children to fetch 20 out. So it is not a myth at all. It is true. I'm an examiner, so I am telling you first-hand experience. Then there is a word limit for catchy phrases. Not at all, Gayatri ma'am. Not at all. There is no word limit for catchy phrases at all, as long as the phrase is completely done. right? Is Gayatri ma'am in the meeting? I should be happy to have her. Prabha Subramaniam ma'am has
yes,
the slogan for notice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Prabha Subramaniam ma'am.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry for the disturbance. Can we write a line for a catchy phrase? It's not a phrase actually.
Could you repeat your question? Could you repeat your question?
Notice heading, catchy phrase. Can it be a line with 7 to 8 words?
It can, of course, yes. As long as it is convincing and as long as it complements with the entire theme of the composition, absolutely. Why a phrase? You can almost write an entire, compilation of sentences as well.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
For notice writing, ma'am?
Sorry. No, not for notice. Did I say notice? Did I say notice writing?
No. That's what my question is. Is it notice writing? I am talking about notice writing.
Notice writing. You can write a phrase, but I don't think if you go beyond a particular limit, obviously you yourself will find the entire notice very unconvincing.
Yeah, that's what. Is there any word limit like 3 words or 4 words like?
As far as my training tells me, we were not told about any definite number of words that should be used for a phrase. So I think we would rather limit them to a 5 or a 6 word as per our experience and all that, right?
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Has the slogan for notice to be in capital letter only? The first line has to be in capital. Yes, Prabha ma'am. Anmol Singh sir is here. The technique for counting the words in essay, obviously, there's no technique as such. You have to bear in mind how much of space is needed according to your words. Then we have Anita Batish ma'am is wanting to know. I've seen the samples issued by the Goyals and the subject is removed in the formal letter. I told you it is desirable, but it is not necessary. Neither do you get marks nor do you lose marks. Anita ma'am, that's for you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes. So it is desirable, but it's not mandatory. Yes.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. This is Seema.
Yes.
Actually, I just wanted to know, ma'am, what are the criteria that you look for, when we just give marks for composition? I mean, it's for 20 marks, and spelling mistakes and errors and grammatically. I mean, what is it that they actually look for when they want to give full marks, ma'am? I mean, what should the children actually concentrate on?
Very good. I'll tell you, as per my experience as an examiner, I'll tell you, first and foremost, you have to, the first thing that has to be borne in mind. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. The first and foremost thing is that they have to concentrate on the topic. Sometimes they veer and then they lose out on the topic itself, number one. So the focus has to be on the topic, number one, as it is. Number two, the gradual progression of the paragraph. That is the second point that is normal, that we were told. That, how exactly the paragraph is progressing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
They shouldn't be suddenly jumping from one paragraph. There should be a proper coherence and coordination between the paragraph. Number two. Number three, obviously vocabulary finds its superfluous vocabulary is absolutely undesirable.
Yes, ma'am.
Superfluous vocabulary, yes. Because we had a long session on this, that sometimes some schools particularly train children into learning a lot of phrases and a lot of proverbs and a lot of idioms and all that. No, that doesn't make for a good composition in any case. And of course, most importantly is that how exactly you finish the whole thing.
Yes, ma'am.
We move on. Yes, thank you. Anita ma'am, can I proceed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Preeta ma'am, I'm taking care of this question in case you are in the meeting. Let me just take over this question. I would like to know if the box is mandatory for notice. Yes, it is. We have already discussed that. Zora ma'am is extending her
Excuse me,
greetings, of course.
ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. Preeta speaking, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Can you hear? Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes, very much.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Yeah. Actually, when we attended the Kolkata meeting, Miss Hilda Peacock had said about that box need not be there, she was saying. And so we did not insist on the box for the notice writing. Now, is there any problem if they don't write box, if they don't draw a box around the notice, or is it compulsory that they should draw a box?
But it is desirable, as I said.
Okay.
It might not be mandatory, but it is desirable.
Okay. Ma'am, my second question is, suppose notice like, going for a 2 or 3 days camp or something, then what should the venue be? Venue and time.
It should be, there should be a proper name to the venue. Yes, there should be a proper name. Please insist upon, don't say that we had just gone to a lake or we had gone to the hills and all that. I suggest, and I suppose anybody would suggest, that the name has to be in particular, they have to use the proper name.
The proper name of the place, the destination, or the starting point.
Like if it is notice and you want to inform people, I think anybody can say, if you are wanting to inform the students about the time of departure, so naturally expected and desirable that you have to mention from where exactly you're leaving. So that makes it almost a kind of a must kind of a thing as to where exactly we are.
Yes. Okay.
There's no specification as such, but that could be understood. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
We have already seen. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, one question regarding letter writing.
Right.
Now, if a student is using punctuation marks as in comma, comma, full stop, that's the way they are taught, will they be penalized?
Are you referring to the traditional pattern or computer pattern?
No, the block system format.
No, if at all they put a comma, they will not be. But if they are writing a traditional format, then it is mandatory.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And another one query is towards the subscription, we are told to use the 3 strokes Y.
Okay.
Is that mandatory?
Can you make it more specific?
Like yours faithfully or yours affectionately. That Y of yours. At times,
capital.
Capital, will it be 3 strokes, or they can write a capital cursive writing Y also?
Yes, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Because when we went for correction, we were actually that was a point where we deducted marks. So many students would...
Since this issue was not taken up in my working training workshop, but I think we would rather play safe and tell our children to be very clear about, yes.
3 strokes.
Capital, isn't it?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. That was
it's always nice to be on this, to keep the children on the safer side.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. We are running out of time, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what even I was thinking. So I think most of the questions we have already dealt with, but in case we have any such...
Ma'am, can I please ask one question?
Yes.
Ma'am, please can I ask one question?
Yes, please do go ahead. Just make it brief and precise, yes.
Very good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to ask that 2 types of format we have in letter, punctuated one and unpunctuated one. If the students just leave unpunctuated, will they deduct marks?
I'm sorry, could you repeat? I just missed out on the basic thing.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we have 2 formats, one punctuated and the other unpunctuated one. Students can use punctuated and other unpunctuated. So if they leave the format unpunctuated, will the council deduct marks for that?
No, not at all. Because there's no specification regarding this punctuation and not punctuating. There's no specification. At least we were not told. Yes.
Okay, one more thing, ma'am. One more thing, please. Regarding that subscription part, that whether we are using yours faithfully and sincerely. And council tells that only to write faithfully and sincerely, nothing more than that in formal letter. They can use anything apart, or only to, we will teach only to.
Okay.
That
Who
is
am I
one.
talking to? If I would be happy to
Yes,
address
ma'am.
you.
Obviously, Abhijit Banerjee, you can see me.
Okay. Yes, Abhijit. Yes. So
Yes.
sweet to have you. Abhijit, the fact is over here that
Yes.
we at ICSE, we are a bit of, a little conventional. So they have specified sincerely and they have specified faithfully.
And ma'am, for
yes,
friendly letter,
I can understand your
tell?
excitement of using
yes,
friendly letter.
Yes.
Affectionately is the most desirable thing that ICSE approves of.
And nothing else, right, ma'am? Nothing else.
Lovingly, they are not very, no, because we've had sessions where we have, just dwelt upon this thing, whether to approve or not to approve. So why at all put that thing in the, benefit of doubt, or maybe
they
give
cannot,
the child the benefit.
Okay,
so
ma'am,
let us train our children.
They cannot write also loving friend, right? Yours loving friend. They cannot write.
No,
right?
No.
Yours affectionately. Yours affectionately
Correct.
Only. And the comma. And after that, they will write only their name.
We just suggested.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Yes. Thank you very much.
If it is an informal, informal, then they write their name.
Okay.
If it is formal, they write both.
Full name, full address, full name.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Just a second. I'll just, in case I forget, just a second. Anuradha, can you just hold on for half a minute? Okay. Over here, my experience tells me that some children have just one name. Like say for instance, the name is Arvind, right? So the child often writes just Arvind, and that naturally, that can possibly make the child lose mark in case he is writing a formal letter. So over here, as a teacher, we normally suggest that children should just write any one alphabet, Arvind K or R Arvind or something that should make the examiner feel that the child has been very particular about using both the names. That's the convention. So that's how it is. Because we write just first name for informal letters, but we write both our names or all three names for our formal letters. So just impress upon the children, in case they have this kind of a problem where only one name is there, they can just add one extra K or R or S to impress the examiner that they know exactly the format of finishing the letter.
Okay,
Any
thank
further
you, madam.
question? We can quickly wind up. Yes.
Good evening.
Yes, Anuradha. Good evening, Anuradha.
Ma'am, my question pertains to Pressy writing and notice writing. Ma'am, regarding Pressy writing, is it mandatory for the students to write in grid format? Like, it's no doubt convenient for the examiners, but suppose if they don't, like, we always encourage them to use the grid format, but suppose.
Okay. Anyway, I don't think this is anyway applicable to the session that we have today, because anyway we are not dealing with Pressy this time, rather. So maybe we can have another session.
And ma'am, regarding notice writing, like where they write the venue, they instead of writing their own school name, can they write ABC International School XYZ?
No, preferably that goes for CBSE. Let our children write their own names and be proud of their schools.
Okay, ma'am. And no need to write the date of issuing the notice in the corner.
No. For ICSE, it is not mandatory. When I shall be dealing with my CBSE platform, I'll tell them, but ICSE doesn't, not at all.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think that should take care of all the questions possible.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Ma'am, thank you for such wonderful
Thank you
session.
once again. Thank you. I'm introducing this book.
Yes. So, ma'am, we are also sharing a link on chat box where all of them can see the sample book. A link is given.
Yes.
And
I'll just scroll through the sample book right now before I wind up the session. So Mudassir will take care of that. Mudassir, can we just run through the PPT where my friends can go through the
Also, ma'am, just a small message to all the participants who are here. We have sent all this complete set to all your schools. Wherever your school is, please ask your school. They will have this Goyal Brothers Prakashan sample papers with them. So you can contact your school. We have sent ICSE and ISC, both books in your schools. And if you want sample papers, we have shared a link. You can just access it. It will be available to you. And our books are available online at www.goyal-books.com. You can tell your students to go there and purchase. And also the books are available at bookshops. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, if you could repeat the the address
www. I'm writing it on chat box, ma'am. Goyal-books.com. It's available there.
It's -books.com. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Jitin, can we just scroll up the entire book?
Yeah, please, ma'am. Yeah.
Before we wind up.
Now, subscribe to Bright Duty course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Duty app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Duty courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Duty follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Duty and avail your courses at affordable prices.
Jitin, we are waiting. Mudassir, you can help us with that?
Okay, ma'am, I have to share it.
Yes, please. It is a set of 10 solved and 5 unsolved. Yes. Thank you, Jitin. Yes, that's what it is.
Excuse me. Hello.
Just a second. We will just finish off with this presentation. There are 10 altogether. Benazir Banu, ma'am, I'll just find out from the office. I'll let you know about whether it can be streamed on also. But right now, you can see that we have 10 solved and 5 unsolved set of question paper in this book that we are introducing.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. It's on the strands right now and also available online. So you can access accordingly. Thank you so much.
Hello, madam. Can I speak to you?
Ma'am, I'm very sorry. We'll have to end the program right now.
I like to speak to Mr. Mudassir. It has been mentioned that all the registered participants will get a free e-copy.
We will send you, yeah, sir, we will send you an email. In that there will be a user ID and password. You can access our book there. Also, we are sending on chat box.
So is it only the sample version or the full book e-copy?
For full e-copy, we'll send you a mail, sir. In that you can access through our app. Okay, sir. We'll send it to you today. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. We will have to. We have to end it now, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to you for such a
Thank you,
wonderful
madam.
session.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you all. It was a great. It was
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, madam. We are really privileged coming here.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful and enlightening.